So Donald Trump and Joe Biden both went down to the border. Joe Biden acted like a president who was there to lead and there to fix the problem. And Donald Trump did the only thing that Donald Trump is capable of doing. He turned it into a political stunt. He just played political theater. If you don't believe me, take a look at this clip.
It's real simple. It's time to act. It's long past time to act.
The United States is being overrun by the Biden migrant crime.
They desperately need more resources. They need more agents, more officers, more judges.
This is a Joe Biden invasion.
Join me, or I'll join you in telling the Congress to pass this bipartisan border security bill.
You look at what this governor, Newscomb from California, isn't that his name, Newscomb?
So instead of playing politics with the issue, why don't we just get together and get it done?
I call him Crooked Joe because he's crooked. He's a terrible president.
So there you have a president saying, hey, can we set our political differences aside for a minute and can we simply work together to fix this problem? I'll work with you. You have the president of the United States, whether people on the MAGA side of the aisle, and I'm not going to refer to him as the Republican Party anymore, the MAGA Party, whether you like it or not, Joe Biden is the president. I know they live in a conspiracy theory bubble where they still think Obama's running everything or that Joe Biden's an actor or blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, whether you like it or not, right now, Joe Biden is the president of the United States. And if this is a crisis that you truly want to fix right now, then you have to work with Joe Biden to fix that crisis. If you say, we're going to put this off till Donald Trump gets elected, then we have a hard time believing that you believe it's that big of a crisis. Because if my house was on fire and the next door neighbor who I couldn't stand decided to come over and help me with a bucket of water, I would put our differences aside and say, yeah, I really appreciate you bringing a bucket of water over here. You know, I really appreciate it. We're not going to agree after this is over, but I'm going to shake your hand because guess what we did? We saved the house. And guess what else we did? We potentially saved the whole neighborhood from burning to the ground. That's what reasonable people do. But Donald Trump does not have a reasonable bone in his body because he has no ideas. He has no solutions. So the only thing he can do is blame it on Joe Biden. And his followers are brainwashed into believing that every problem they face in this world is somehow Joe Biden's fault. Joe Biden is the big boogeyman, the big villain. He is the problem that they have. He's every problem that they have. You can talk to a MAGA supporter, Trump supporter. I'm not calling them Republicans anymore. You can talk to them about any problem. Biden. It's Biden. Biden done it. Biden is the reason that everything in their life is bad. They've bought that. So if Donald Trump reached over now at this point in the game and said, you know what? Yeah, I'll work with you to fix this crisis, then Joe Biden looks like a reasonable dude, and he can't have that. He has to always pretend as though he's a leader. He has to always pretend as though he's some kind of smart businessman. He's brainwashed and tricked a lot of gullible people into believing it. But this is the guy running for re-election, okay? This is the guy who has to win over independent and moderate voters come November. He can't win the general election without that. No matter how much mainstream media these people watches that tells them, Donald Trump's still in this, Donald Trump is winning. Yes, but every person that votes for Nikki Haley in these primaries, every person that votes for Nikki Haley, that's a protest vote. That is them saying, we do not want Donald Trump. Those people either A, aren't going to vote for Donald Trump come November, or B, they're just going to stay home because they want no part of that. Now, he has to win over moderate voters, and how's he going to do that? How's he going to reach to people in the middle of the aisle? And I still don't understand how anyone could be in the middle, but how does Donald Trump reach to the middle of the aisle with that rhetoric and that attitude? What does that say to an independent voter sitting back on the fence going, I'm going to try to pick a side here? What would you do? Would you work with the guy that's saying, hey, let's set aside our political differences and let's fix this problem? Or would you side with the guy who's just name-calling? And now Gavin Newsom has reached a new level because he's earned a Donald Trump nickname. He's New Scum. I call him New Scum. They love this shit. They love this shit because it's WWE. It's WWE to them. And they grew up watching WWE and reality TV, and they think that that's how the federal government works too. They don't understand how any of it works. They destroyed the Republican Party of our grandfathers. They completely done away with it. And now we have this con man, this grifter up there leading them around by the nose, and he has no idea how to fix the problem. Now, It would have been different if Donald Trump had said, okay, Joe, yeah, let's work to fix this. I've got a different idea, though. I've got a different approach. And Joe Biden came back and said, well, I don't think that approach would work, and here's why. If you had that type of discussion, then that would be healthy, and that would appeal to independent voters. People in the middle would go, okay, here's two guys trying to work it out. Now let's see which side we want to go to. And you would have a much better chance of winning come November. For all the people out there that can't stand Joe Biden and thinks that he is the boogeyman and the cause to every problem they have, my question to you would be, do you want to see Joe Biden leave office? Do you want to see him defeated? Do you want to see him go home? Do you want to see someone else take over? Because if you do, you're going to have to unhitch your wagon to this ridiculous MAGA rhetoric. It does not appeal to the broader spectrum of people. I really believe at the end of the day that MAGA is a very loud minority. And loud minorities sometimes can rule the entire damn country in certain situations. They can. So we can't rest on our laurels, and we can't sit back and start splitting hairs and staying home on Election Day. We have to keep our eyes focused because American democracy is on the line come November. And over here, we have Joe Biden, who says, I'm here to fix the problem. I'll reach across the aisle. I'll work with you. You're running against me, but I'll work with you. And he can't bring himself to do it for two reasons. One, he has to appeal to his base, and he has to always make Joe Biden look like the boogeyman. And two, he has no idea himself how to actually fix it. So if he did attempt to work with Joe Biden, he's just going to be standing there with an empty sack because he's got nothing. So if Joe said to him, hey, go ahead, Donald, throw an idea at me, all he has is names. I call him Crooked Joe. I call him Sleepy Joe. I call him New Scum. That's all the guy has. And if you're sitting there trying to figure out how to pay your bills, you're sitting there trying to figure out how to get health care, you're sitting there trying to figure out how you're going to face struggles that you're facing in your life, you've got a guy that may not always be perfect, may not always be right. I don't always agree with him myself, but you've got a guy saying, hey, I'm here trying to fix this problem. I'm here trying to reach across the aisle, and you got old Gramps over here. I call him Sleepy Joe. Well, go for it. Keep voting for that if you want to, but when you do, you're voting against your own interest, and you're like a chicken voting for Colonel Sanders.